Good evening everybody, welcome to the official PSGL YouTube channel. It's a Sunday once again, and it's time for the Formula 5 League once again. We're coming to you this week from the Hockenheim Ring in Germany, possibly for the final time with its exclusion from the 2020 calendar IRL. And we've got a qualifying and 50% race ahead of you as always. And usually of course Mr. Stim does host this stream, but it's just me with you this week. My name is Jake Warrior, and it'll just be me on my own this week as Mr. Stim cannot be here. So yeah, but it should be a good race. Bit of news regarding this race: the championship leader coming into this round, Jack Tyler, has actually got a race ban, so he will not be in the race tonight, and it's a chance for the chasing pack in the championship to close the gap a bit. I'll run through the championship standings just now while the session just gets underway. So yeah, coming into this round we've got Jack Tyler leading the championship on 60 points. 25 points clear of Frederick in second, Monster Blue in third, who comes into this race on the back of winning the last two races. So he's definitely the man in form at the moment. And then you've got Ozan Typhoon, who is 29 points adrift of Jack Tyler. So even though Jack Tyler will be missing tonight's race, he's still in a very, very strong position in the championship, and it's up to those chasing pack to get good races tonight to close that gap. Good evening to everybody who is watching this stream, and hopefully we're in for an exciting race tonight. Around Hockenheim, it's sad of course that this track will not be on next year's game. I personally really do like this track. It tends to provide great racing, as we've seen in recent years in real life. And there are tracks I'd probably much rather see the back of than this one. So, but hopefully F5 can give it a good send-off this evening. Just gonna see who's go on board with all that. Let's go on board with Axnis, who is out on the medium tyre, so this won't be his flat out best run. He's gone a bit wide there through turn one. Not sure if he'll get penalised for that or not. So he's heading down the long straight now towards the turn 6 hairpin. Got a bit of traffic in front. It's his teammate, so I can't imagine that his teammate will hold him up too much. Although he hasn't. Is he going to move out of the way now? Oh, this could be very interesting. I don't really know what his teammate's doing, to be honest. Doesn't look like he's on a lap, so he really should be moving to one side, but it's not putting Axnis off so far. Oh, it might do in the stadium section though. Even just being that close, he will pick up a little bit of understeer. Jamie's just gone quickest on a 1:12.1, and well, I get the feeling there the communication at Mercedes is lacking somewhat. Oh dear. I don't think Axnis is too happy with his teammate there. That was a bit messy. My sources, some sources in the chat are suggesting it's going to be a wet race. Well, it would certainly go hand in hand with some recent IRL races, that's for sure. The weather can be unpredictable around here. Currently we've got Jamie first, 4 attempts clear of Geronimo. Those are the only two drivers who have done laps on the faster tyre. I'm actually interested to see Okeke and Kajman out on soft tyres, because in recent races, if memory serves me right, they don't actually take part in qualifying, so I'm interested to see if they complete these laps here. They're usually very strong race pace wise, particularly Kajman I've found, but starting at the back of the grid is a disadvantage, no matter what way you look at it. It's got a bit of traffic as well. That might have meant he picked up a bit of understeer in the last two corners. He goes round the final corner and he puts it into fifth on a 1:12.9. He'll need to find a bit more pace than that to get up near the sharp end. Let's see what his teammate's doing. I don't think this is a lap that's going to get anywhere near the top. I think he must have backed out of this lap. He'll go for it again now. The four Blue Mosquitoes coming to the end of his first lap. He was looking very strong last time out, but he got some very unfortunate penalties, which kind of put pay to his race, and that's a very good lap time there. The first man into the 1:11s. Yeah, as I said, he was really unlucky last time out of Silverstone, got some very harsh penalties which ultimately meant he couldn't really salvage anything. I think he might still have got a point due to how chaotic the race was, but he should have had a lot more than that. Let's follow Mr. Grumpy, the ultimate veteran of PSGL. He's been here since the very start. And as we've seen this season, he gives absolutely everything. He hasn't quite had the luck at times, but he'll certainly keep pushing, and he's got the pace to get a good result here, no doubt about it. Someone's just mentioning in the chat that they've got a wet setup on their car. I don't actually know who that is who's saying that in the chat. Their name doesn't match up to anybody on the grid, so. But yeah, that's a tricky one. Obviously, with Parc Fermé being on, you've got to make the decision. Do you go with a dry setup and compromise your race, or a wet setup and compromise your qualifying, or you can go sort of in between and hopefully it can handle wet conditions. It's a tough call to make, because obviously the problem if you run a completely wet setup is you might just be so far down the grid you can't really get involved in the race, no matter what your pace is. It's a tough balancing out, that's for sure, as Axnis has put together a lap that sees him go into third place, with his teammate Bartman just slotting in behind in fourth. Still plenty of time to go in this qualifying session, so a lot of drivers still yet to switch to the quicker tyre. Let's see who's following Monster Blue, the four-man of that Formula 5 at the moment, coming off the back of 2 race wins in the last 2 races at Austria and Silverstone. He's definitely the one that I think is the biggest threat to Jack Tyler in the Drivers' Championship based on current form. Let's see what he can do on this lap here. He's a long way up on his lap time, which was set on the mediums, as you'd expect. And now through the stadium section. Of course, the runoff area in the wet can catch out drivers, as we've seen. Oh, and he's made a mistake around the last corner, and that, well, I say that's put pay to his lap, but he has still improved to a 1:12.2, so you got to think without that mistake that he would have been right up there. Torrential rain, I'm hearing, so that's really going to be tough for the drivers. The spray on this game, when there is a massive downpour, it can really affect you. You don't want to be following a car. The place you want to be is at the front, otherwise you can't see much, let's be honest. See who's on a lap. Awesome dude, what's Awesome Dude up to? He's just starting his lap. We'll follow him round in the Renault. Heading down now onto the, well, this apparently counts as the corner. I think this is turn 5, what he's going through now. You don't really notice it's a corner at all. Just a slight curve in the straight. Oh, he locks up slightly into the hairpin, runs a bit wide. That won't be ideal. Now heading through the flat out turn 7, out towards the turn 8, past the Mercedes grandstand. And then again, slight kink of turn 9 before throwing the car into a flat out turn 10. It probably won't be flat out in the rain. And then back into the stadium section here. You really want to take as much corner as you can through here. And then this banked curve here, just follow it through, don't get too greedy on the exit. And guide it through these last few corners. Running a bit wide there, he'll have to wait a bit longer to get the power down as a result of that. Where does Awesome Dude put his car? He puts it up into 6. A decent lap, but there's definitely room for improvement there. There was a couple of corners where he will know he can find some time. Top 3 in quality prediction. It's a bit cheating for me now, but I'll do it anyway with 7 minutes to go. I think I've got a feeling Frederick's going to get pole. I've got Frederick pole, Monster Blue second, and Blue Mosquito third. I'll go with that. I feel like that 1:11.8 from Blue Mosquito will be beaten by somebody. Let's follow Damlius in the Ferrari. Lovely sequence of corners this one. It's just about hooking it up. You don't want to run offline, otherwise you cost yourself through the next 2 or 3 corners. He's not improving, so I don't think this is going to do much for him. Mr. Geronimo, I believe, is... No, he's in the pits. Someone just improved. We'll go on board with Frederick, who I backed just a second ago to find a great lap, so let's see if he can back me up here. I don't think this is going to be it, and in fact he pits. Interestingly, Jamie did a very quick lap time on softs at the start of the session, and has now gone back out on the mediums. He's now pitting, so maybe just trying to get a bit more of a feel for the medium tyres, I don't know. Just saw Kajman popping into 13. Both Alfa Romeos doing qualifying lap times. That's not always been the case in recent times. Oh, that's who popped up. I've just noticed. Simo has just popped up into 5th place. Always a very quick driver on his day, Simo, and that's a very competitive lap time. Let's see what Mr. Grumpy's going up to. He's just starting his lap on the soft tyre. It's currently down 18th, but that lap time isn't really that representative, I wouldn't have thought. He's matched his first sector, but the first sector is only 15 seconds long. It's not really where you're going to gain the time. It's this middle sector and last sectors where there's going to be the difference between you improving or not. Looks fairly smooth so far for Grumpy. I don't know how fast it is, but it seems to be having any trouble. There you go, he's gained 8 tenths in the middle sector, so yeah, he's definitely gained a lot of time there, and this will bump him right up the order. It's very, very close from second down to sort of 14th. There's only half a second separating those 12 cars, so I get the feeling this lap time is going to put Grumpy somewhere in amongst that. And indeed it has, and it's put him further up towards the front of that group. He's gone up into 4th. Nice lap indeed. Still nobody really challenging Blue's time. Jamie's the closest, but still quarter of a second adrift. I'm not too sure. It's Jake, by the way, not Jack, but to be fair, I've been called worse, so that's fine. Let's see, so we are getting towards the business end of qualifying now. Drivers will be coming out for their last laps. Let's just see who is on a lap at the moment. We've got V8 Field. This is not a name I recognise. I don't know if this is a reserve driver or a newbie to the league, but let's follow V8 Field through. It might be son of Svetlana's replacement, I don't know. I don't think they're on a particularly fast lap, so Maybe they're going to come into the pits at the end of this one. So the more we look at it, the more brilliant that lap time from Blue Mosquito looks at the moment. Ah, V8 Field made an appearance at France. Ah, I think that's the only race I haven't seen. Yeah, there's nobody on a flying lap at the moment. Some people are just getting ready to start a lap. Who is closest to beginning a lap? Domlios is, so we'll follow him round his lap. He gets it into turn 1. That looks very nice actually. It's going to be a tricky corner to deal with at the start of the race. He's broken very late there and ran a little bit wide, but let's see, he's on a personal best through sector 1. Got some traffic ahead, but they all stay off the racing line and slow down, so fair play to them there. Not holding the Ferrari driver up at all. Gets it slowed nicely into the hairpin. Let's see what he can do into turn 8. Gets it turned in nicely, back on the power. Flings it over to the left hand side before turning in, runs a little bit wide there. Don't know if he'll be penalised for that. He is still on a personal best lap time, and with how closely congested it is in that part of the grid, he could be the difference between him potentially 4 or 5 places on the grid, as long as he can hook up this final sector. Flings it into the final corners, running a bit wide here. He had to delay getting on the power, but it's good enough for second. Nice lap from Domlios. He joins Blue Mosquito on the front row into the 111s. He might push on for another lap. Jamie's not on the... Jamie's going to have one more lap at it. Let's follow Axe this round. Has done a really good first sector. What's their middle sector looking like? That's very wide out of there. Interesting to see if that lap time is allowed. As Frederick, person I backed for pole position, has just put it into third behind his Ferrari teammate, and well, I don't think it'll matter practice now because he's run wide there. He'll have one more lap if he wants it. Yeah, no improvement unfortunately for him as Kajman goes up to 4th. Okeke is now gone to 7th. Look how close it is in that part of the grid. Monster Blue currently 11th. The guys won the last 2 races as Matty now goes into 4th. The checker flag is out, but drivers may complete these laps that they're on. Monster Blue round the final corner. Is this going to be pole position? Yes it is, a great lap, 111.7. Can anybody else respond to that? I'm just trying to see who is on a lap. We've got Frederick, he's not going any quicker. Is Bartman currently 15th? He's usually quicker than that, so I would suspect some kind of improvement here. No, he stays 15th. Awesome Dude went 5th. Is anybody else looking like they're about to improve? Just trying to see, everyone looks like they're on slow laps. I think that might be it. I don't think anyone's going to improve. No, I think that is your grid. So we've got Monster Blue on pole position then in the Williams. Blue Mosquito joins them on the front row. I believe that was the same front row as what we had at Silverstone, if memory serves me correctly. And an all Ferrari second row. Damlius with a good lap in 3rd, Frederick in 4th. We got Awesome Dude in 5th, Matty 6th, Kajman, Seymour, Jeremy, and Try and Catch complete the top 10. The field spread though is really close. Like, the person who's qualified in 14th is is a quarter of a second off being in 3rd. That's just how close it is. How do you think the YWR drivers will perform in the race with a bad quali? Well, I expect a better than from them, to be honest. Only 12th and 15th. They've usually shown better pace than that. I'd actually argue their qualifyings have usually been better than their races, so it could be tough for them, but they may have gone with a full wet setup and they might come back into play in the race, but they're going to have a lot of work to do. But they definitely got the pace to do it, but you just don't know with such different conditions for the race. It could throw up some surprises. 7th to 13th, all within a 10th. That's very true. That is incredibly close. Suggests we're in for a belting race. So as our sources feared, it is torrential rain for the race. That looks to me like full wet tyres as well. So it's going to be testing conditions for these drivers. Monster Blue, of course, starting on pole, looking for his 3rd victory in a row. And if you can get a 3rd win in a row, you've got to consider him, but he's a serious title challenger. He wasn't there for the first couple of races, I don't think, so his points total is slightly misleading in that regard. And we are indeed starting on full wets as they get going for the formation lap. Has anyone risked the inters? I highly doubt it, but I'll just double check. Nope, everyone is on full wets. I do remember, I don't think it's as much of a opportunity on this game, but I remember on the last game you could sometimes risk going on intermediates in full wet conditions and it would be just as quick. So, but not on this occasion. I do got very similar conditions to the real life thriller of 2019. If we can have a race half as good as that, we're going to be in for a good one. As Monster Blue, in his attempt to warm up his tyres, has gone off the road. Who would be my person to watch for in these conditions? Someone like Simo, actually, is someone who comes to my mind. I feel like I think he won a wet race back when I last commentated. I think it was F1 2017, but he was very strong in these sort of changeable conditions, and he's in a decent grid spot. So Simo's someone I would keep an eye out for. But with the lap times being so close, it's going to be tough to make your way through the field if you are starting outside the top 10. And you haven't even got the advantage of starting on fresh tyres that you would have had in dry conditions. Formation lap just coming to a close and making a way through the stadium section. I think this will be the most difficult part of the track in these conditions. It's a very tight technical section. It's going to be a very long 34 laps ahead for these drivers. See the drivers lining up, ready for the off. Just drivers at the back lining up now. We are close to getting underway here at Hockenheim for the final time, as it will not be on the next game. Let's enjoy the 34 laps of Hockenheim. The lights should be going out any second. Yep, here we go. We've got 5 lights. And we're underway for the Formula 5 German Grand Prix. It looks like Monster Blue's got away very well from pole position. Blue Mosquito jumped slightly there. No changes really from what I can see. Awesome Dude making his way past Matty into 5th. Everyone tiptoeing very carefully. I think it's very much just trialing, finding out what the conditions are like. Monster Blue's got an excellent start. Matty making his way back past Awesome Dude, so didn't lose that position for long. And everyone looks to have made it through very, very well so far. Some very sensible driving going on, that's for sure. As we head towards the hairpin for the first time. We've got Awesome Dude down the inside, and there's a bit of contact there. I think that's Cadman that tapped the back of Awesome Dude. And who's that? Is that Frederick? Oh, Frederick's made a mistake. He was up there in fourth, but he's lost out majorly. Lost a few positions, and now Jamie's up to sixth. And Frederick, has he got damage, I wonder? He looks to be going very slowly as they all try and make their way through. Looks like Bartman's had some problems. He's down at the back. And we've got a virtual safety car. As Davey picks up a penalty for a collision with Kolesnik. So we have a virtual safety car here. So really, Matty's the big gainer, and as is Jamie, both up a few positions. From the start, Frederick's lost out majorly. I do wonder if he'll be heading into the pits. It looks like he might have damage. He's not though, he's carrying on. And we should be back underway very shortly. Monster Blue already built out a decent enough lead at the start. Looks like there's some overtaking going on behind. I don't know if there's been a collision further down the field. Looks like there's Axnis and maybe V8 Field that are involved. V8 Field is now out of a race, and it has been a disaster for the YWR drivers. We were just discussing them before the race, and it hasn't worked out well for them at all. We're back underway here. And it looks like Awesome Dude's made his way back past Matty. Matty breaks quite early. Actually, no, he didn't break early. It was Awesome Dude who broke quite late. But Awesome Dude just manages to get the superior traction and keep fourth place. And now he's got the Red Bull of Jamie looking down Matty's outside. It's going to be a brave move around there. To be fair to Matty, he gives him the space, but in the end, Jamie has to side against that move as Frederick looks for a way through. Looks like there's more drama behind. Looks like more problems for the YWR drivers. And Mr. Grumpy is that, who's just made his way up into 10th place. There's it. If he pulls that off, that's a lovely move. Right round the outside. That's a fantastic overtake from Mr. Grumpy. He's up into the top 10 after starting 13th. So that's a very solid effort indeed. His next target will be Seamer, who I tipped before the race to have a good one. I hope for the commentator's curse won't strike on that one. Axnis lost his wing after getting crashed into. Right, so that's what happened to him. As we see, it looks like that's Jamie trying to make a move on Matty. So Matty's hard work that he made at the start, he's lost those two positions that he gained initially. And Jamie looks like he's on the move here, and now Frederick will want to have a look at the Williams car, but it could be free abreast into here. Frederick's broke very late, and I think Matty in the end decided against Batten, but he's still there. I didn't think he'd be on the inside, but he was. And he actually keeps 6th place, so that was a very, very good bit of defending there for Williams. Frederick though still for a way through. He'll want to make up for lost time after losing some positions at the start. He looks like he's got good pace, and he also looks like he wants to get on with it, as there's a Red Bull there of try and catch going off in the background. I think that just was. No real place to overtake in this section unless the car in front of you goes off. These are treacherous conditions, and Monster Blue is in the zone. He's built up almost a 2-second lead over Blue Mosquito in 2nd place, who will be starting to come under attack from Damlios. Bit of commentator's bias here, but I'm just going to quickly go on board with Seamer, as I backed him to do well here, and it looks like he's getting up to the back of Kajran, but it looks like they're all sort of converging on Matty, who doesn't look like he's got the best of wet weather pace at the moment. Looks like he's struggling in these conditions, and Frederick will pull to the inside Willie. He's given the room, and Frederick much later on the brakes. Looks like he's got more confidence. There's a bit of wheel contact there, and Frederick kind of barges his way through, and that opens the door to the Alfa Romeo behind. Can he follow through? I don't think he can. So Matty maintains 7th to now, but he looks like he's just lacking a little bit of confidence in these conditions at the moment. And he's got a bit of a train forming behind him now. As we see, is that Simo defending from Grumpy? I think it is. Grumpy made a move around the outside of this corner last lap, and he's tried it again, I think, but there's just no way through on that occasion. I hope he's not got wing damage on that one, because that's a little bit optimistic if he was going for a move there. Look at the lack of visibility the drivers have got in these conditions. It's hard enough just following the car ahead, let alone trying to make a move. A few drivers running wide at turn 1. I think in these conditions they will be, like, it has been said that it'll be monitored what happens on the exit of turn 1, but I think in these conditions there will be a bit more leeway. You know, I don't really think you'll gain any time from running wide in these conditions. So I don't think it's the optimum way around that corner anyway. Look at the front, a few gaps starting to form. We've still got Danlios pretty close to Blue Mosquito. But all the top 3 sort of having a pretty solid race so far as Danlios runs a little wide. Great helicopter shot there. Seeing the cars around this middle sector. Not really any mention of the rain calming down in the race, so I wonder if it's just going to be this sort of weather throughout, or if we will see maybe intermediates later on. Looks pretty full wet at the moment, it has to be said. Let's go back down the field. We've still got this kind of gaggle of cars behind Matty. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. Hello, Mr. Stim, good to see you in the chat. As we've got a Red Bull in the pit lane, let's try and catch. And what's he doing? I'm wondering, has he got damage? He might have damage. He has. And he's going for another set of full wet, so he's not doing anything with the tyres or anything like that. He just picked up damage, unfortunately for him, so that has cost him quite a bit there. And Kajman is right in the slipstream of Matty, heading towards the hairpin. The Alfa Romeo goes for the inside line, and looks like he's got the line. And oh, we've got Seymour there, running wide. He's managed to keep his 9th place though, but he will now be under attack from Grumpy behind, who is himself under attack for Dougie Afroman. But yeah, Matty dropping down a little bit, but he's down to 8th now, but he's got a little bit of a cushion to Seymour now, thanks to that mistake. And oh, further up the field as well now, we've got Jamie, who is right behind Awesome Dude. Jamie's looked quick in these conditions so far, has to be said. He was very aggressive at the start, and he looks like he's picking his way through the field nicely. And Awesome Dude looks like he'll be next. Breaks down into the right-hander. Looking to get a good run onto this straight. Of course, no aid of DRS in these conditions, so it's just all going to be about slipstream and then how brave you want to be on the brakes. I don't think he's close enough on this occasion. So he'll just go back behind Awesome Dude for the time being. Further down the field, we've got Mr. Dougie Afroman looking down the outside of Mr. Grumpy. They're very close together. Oh, and there's a bit of contact. Oh, and they're both trying to get on the traction a little bit early, and it looks like Dougie Afroman has got it. Grumpy will not give up without a fight though, and he's coming right back at the Racing Point driver. He's going to go around the outside of the Mercedes corner, and he'll duck at the inside into turn 10. This is great racing between them, two of them, and it looks like The Dougie Afroman's got the position. Great racing between the pair of them, going side by side through several corners. And it's Dougie Afroman that takes P10 and Grumpy falls outside of the points. It is heavy rain to the end of a race. I wonder if... I'm guessing it'll be a one-stopper. I wouldn't imagine that they'd stay out on the wet tyres all race. The same set, that is. So I imagine it'll be a one-stop race for most drivers. Go back to Jamie, who is still right behind Awesome Dude. Again, though, he hasn't particularly picked up a great run out of that corner, so he won't be close enough into turn 6. It looks like he's a bit more confident on the brake pedal, so if he can get a good run, he has got a good shot at getting that P4. Simo again. Simo having a few troubles getting that car slowed down for the hairpin. Dougie Afroman, well, he's actually going to be joined by Mr. Geronimo, actually, these two now. Grumpy will want to get that P10 back, but he's got to be mindful he doesn't lose a position in the process, and that's exactly what he might be about to do. He ran wide, but he managed to just cover off for McLaren. Mr. Geronimo thinks about a move into there, but that's not an overtaking spot at any condition, really. Unless you're alongside, so he just ducks underneath for the time being. Grumpy has given Dougie Afroman a bit of breathing space following that error. And this is the battle course for P11. Mr. Grumpy pits. I wonder if he's got some front wing damage. I hope not, because he hasn't had a lot of luck this season, and this would only make it worse. Ah, the Renault has heavy wing damage, right, so Grumpy does have wing damage. I see. Apologies for not spotting that. Can be difficult on a Renault to actually see if it has damage at times, just because of the look of a front wing. But yeah, Grumpy goes for another set of full wets, and he's back out there. Further up the field, we've got Jamie now going for the move on Awesome Dude, the other Renault driver, and it looks like Jamie's got the high ground, and he will make the move stick. Awesome Dude's coming back at him though. Oh, that is an aggressive move back. And he gets the place back, does he? I think he might have let Jamie through there, because it was a little bit aggressive. I don't know if he was going for the move or if he just outbroke himself, but I think Jamie thankfully saw it coming, and Jamie has the 4th place now. And the battle in between these two has allowed the Ferrari of Frederick to close right in as well. So this could potentially be a three-way scrap. Be interesting what Jamie's pace is now he's cleared the Renault, because he looks quick. The top 3 are all kind of spaced out. There's 2 seconds between each of them. It's probably the window you want to be in, really. I think when you're 2 seconds behind, you don't really get the spray so much. So it's not a bad place to be. And I think for Jack Tyler, who might be watching, might not be watching, I don't know. I don't think Monster Blue's the guy he wants to see out in the lead. There's some contact further down the field. I think Kolesnik, yeah, Kolesnik's gone off the road and he's having a bit of a disastrous race, if we're being honest here. Back to the battle for 4th place. I think Kajman is also gaining in on this group of cars, so the cars that have cleared Matty have made good progress. Got a yellow flag in sector 1, I think that might be Kolesnik again. Let's go on board with Frederick, see how he's handling these conditions. Of course, he's one of the championship contenders, so if he can maximise his points here, he will be looking strong. See how difficult it is. Gonna go on board with Simo actually now, who's right behind Matty. The group behind Matty's kind of dispersed after the various shenanigans that have gone on between them. Is Frederick gonna try and move on the Renault? Awesome Dude, I think he thinks about it, but opts to not. Oh! An Awesome Dude has gone way wide and has handed the place to the Ferrari on a plate. Well, he didn't need to go for a move in the end. Awesome Dude went too deep into the braking zone and has dropped into 6th place. Easy thing to do in these conditions. We've seen a number of drivers running wide through there, so that's not too surprising. And now Frederick is right on the back of Jamie. Jamie hasn't really been able to gap these since he passed them. We saw just Mr. Grumpy flash up with the fastest lap of the race just a minute earlier. So showing he's got good pace now that the front wing's been repaired. He'll be hoping for a safety car really to bring him back into contention, I think. He also might try and run those soft tyres, not soft tyres, sorry, wet tyres to the end from here now to try and balance out the time that he's lost. Kind of breaking off into 2 battles now, these group of cars, Jamie and Frederick against each other, and Awesome Dude and Cajman also against each other. It's showing here the slipstream is quite powerful. You don't always need DRS on certain straights. Sometimes a slipstream can be more than enough. But Frederick not quite close enough on this occasion. Few battles developing, but no one going for any moves at the moment. Apologies to the top 3. Oh, there's a yellow flag in sector 3, and I know the leaders are in sector 3. Oh, it's Kolesnik who is having, I think you could only describe as a bit of a nightmare. Nice front wing shot there, as Frederick runs a little wide there. See how the Alfa Romeo's getting on. Oh, Kolesnik has retired. That ends what's been a pretty dismal 13 laps for him. Taking different lines. Of course, in wet conditions you can often find drivers do take different lines through corners. There can be multiple ways of getting through a corner while still maintaining decent pace. It actually gave Awesome Dude a very good exit onto this straight and made sure Cajman couldn't mount an attack. Speaking of mounting an attack, Seema thinks about it against Matty but decides against it. Monster Blue started to up the pace feel. He's extended the gap over Blue Mosquito to 3.3 seconds. And things look very calm and composed for him up front. He's looking for his 3rd win in a row and he's just driving with complete composure. You know, I think when you look at the attributes needed to be a champion, it's early days, of course, still plenty of races and laps in this race to go, but Monster Blue just looks like somebody who doesn't seem to crack under pressure. He looks very composed of what he's doing out on track. Up to this, I'd say 4-car scrap for P4. Once again, you see Awesome Dude just take a slightly deeper line into that corner and then sweep it out of the next turn to get a better exit, and it seems to work well for him actually. We'll see if he thinks about making a move on Frederick. I don't think he's close enough on this occasion. Not to be. See if Seema, again Seema's not close enough to make a move. see if we've got a move about to happen here. Oh, a bit of contact there between Mr. Geronimo and Okeke. And that prevented Okeke from making a move stick on the McLaren. In fact, he's now going to have Davey closing right up to him. This is a battle over P11. Okeke takes a interesting line. It's definitely not the racing line. Okeke looks like he's quicker than the McLaren, just needs to find a way through. And we have someone in the pits. Has Matty got damage, or is this a scheduled stop? I mean, for one-stop strategies, we are sort of getting into that window of stopping now, so let's see what Matty does. Yeah, he has got front. He did have front wing damage, Matty. I wonder if he got that early, because he did seem to lack a bit of pace at the start of the race, and he's coming out just right where Grumpy is actually. And of course Grumpy's already stopped earlier on, so this is a battle for position. And Grumpy's gone right round the outside to take 15th place. That's an important move for Grumpy. He couldn't get past him earlier on, but he has made the move stick here. Will Matty try and fight back? Heading into the hairpin, I wonder. Grumpy does feel the need to go defensive, and I think they were a bit cautious on the brakes there, but yeah, for the time being, Grumpy stays in front. And not caught by me, but Okeke has passed Mr. Geronimo. So Okeke now into the final points paying position. As we see in the background there, Bartman trying to make a move on Davey. It's been a bit of a disaster for Mercedes this race so far. They'll be looking to try and salvage something out of it. As Simo pits, so I get that's very much trying to cover off Matty, I think. No, Keke also pits. So yeah, we're coming into the pit stop window now. The drivers will make their only stop of the race. Simo did not have any damage, so you'd imagine he's going to get the position here. And indeed he has. So Simo rejoins ahead of both Mr. Grumpy and Matty, so that's worked out quite well for him, and he's got some clear air in front now to try and pump in some good lap times and maybe sort of close up into the battle for 4th place, because there was a bit of a gap developing between Kajman and Matty before the stops. As we see here, oh, Davey hitting the back of Bartman. I think Bartman had just made an overtake on Davey, and Davey was trying to fight back, but he may have picked up some slight damage there. I think he has. Looking at it, I could be wrong now. Are any of the leaders going to be pitting? I was about to say, I get the feeling these drivers here will think about stopping. Awesome Dude carries on, but Jamie, Frederick and Kajman all in the pits. So this is a battle for the pit crews now. I'm interested to see if any of them do have damage. I don't think they do. It was Jamie, Frederick and Kajman before the stops. What is it after the stops? Oh, Kajman's actually leapfrogged Frederick, and Jamie, I'm guessing, had to change the front wing, so Jamie's lost out massively there, and it's Kajman, who was behind both cars when he pitted, who is now in front of both of them, and they've both come out right into traffic. That's Jamie and Bartman battling over 7th place, and he didn't really want to rejoin in that traffic. And with the way that worked out, if Awesome Dude can pump in a good lap here, he could actually leapfrog it. Well, he could stay in front of all of them. No question about it. As Jamie tries to fend off the Mercedes, it's important for his race that he stays in front of him. While Davey and Try and Catch are going side by side. And Try and Catch has got P10. Oh, and the battle's been rejoined, I think, again between these two. Dougie, Afro Man and Mr. Grumpy have spent most of the race near each other. And they will lock horns once again as all the top 4 pit. staying out a little bit longer than the cars behind them. And what I'm interested to see is if Awesome Dude has leapfrogged Cashman and Frederick. I think he was ahead of Cashman already, but obviously Cashman jumped in front of the stops. Here we go. You can see Cashman right there. Awesome Dude's going to take a bit of a while to get up to speed, but I think he's got it. So that's worked out really well for the Renault driver, but he might be vulnerable while he gets up to speed on those fresh wet tyres. But I think he's going to be alright. I don't think the Alfa Romeo is going to be close enough. He's not. So yeah, it's worked out really well for Awesome Dude. He's rejoined in 4th place. Meanwhile, the gaps at the front, now that all the top 3 have stopped, Monster Blue has a 5-second advantage over Blue Mosquito, who is 2 seconds in front of Dan Leossa. And those 3 drivers have looked pretty faultless so far, so as it stands at the moment, the podium's looking pretty well sorted. But there is a potential for a safety car. And yet more drama, obviously. As we get later on in the race, a lapse of concentration in these conditions is very, very easily done. So, you know, and I think as well, if you are sort of alone in a race and you don't have any battling going on, it's even easier to lose focus. So, these drivers at the front are going to have to keep their wits about them. But right now, they're looking very, very strong indeed. And this battle for P4 will recommence. I get the feeling Jamie will close back up to the fight as well. It's hard to tell who is the fastest out of the 4 drivers battling for P4, but I think they're very close on pace. Just the 2 retirements so far. V8 field early on, and then Kolesnik retired after a series of spins and offs. He was running way down the field. I think he'd been lapped, so it just was a disaster for him. So let's have a look then to who hasn't... Well, actually everyone now has made a pit stop, so this is the order. Try and Catch, I feel like, has gained a lot out of that. He dropped down, if I remember rightly, but he's found himself up to P9. And I think barring front wing loss, I don't think there's going to be any more pit stops from here on in, so this is just all about track position now, and if you want to get higher up in the order, you're going to have to do some overtaking. As Monster Blue continues to dominate this race, setting another fastest lap. Everyone is on. So you look at, so obviously some drivers pitted quite early due to damage, so you're looking at really the Mercedes drivers in particular. They're going to have to do a lot of laps on one set of wet tyres. It should be done, but it may mean they lack pace towards the end. Also the likes of Grumpy, Try and Catch as well, who pitted earlier than scheduled. They may have a few more problems towards the end of the race with tyre wear. But I don't foresee anyone stopping again. Even with damage, you're probably just worth sticking it out there. Apologies about that, just had to get a drink there. So yeah, back to the on-track action. This is the closest scrap on the track, the battle for 4th place. At the moment, drivers struggling to make an impression on the car ahead of them. We'll go on board with Frederick, see what he can do. And all of this could come down to penalties. We've already seen quite a few corner cutting penalties flash up, so... And of course, it is easily done, so it could come down to that. If you're in a close battle like these 3 drivers are, just avoiding penalties could be the key to ultimately get in a higher position come the end of the race. Always Cashman gets quite close to Awesome Dude under braking. Is Seymour gonna have a look at try and catch? Yes, he is. So Seymour is looking for a move up into 9th place. The Toro Rosso on the Red Bull. Seymour goes right round the outside. Try and catch gives him the space, and Seymour looks like he's got that move done, has he? Try and catch will try and battle it out. They made some contact. That was very close racing. Oh, and Try and Catch has gone well off the track, and that hands Seymour over 9th position. Some good racing there between the pair of them, and a nice move from Seymour using his experience to force a mistake out of his opponent. And Seymour is up into 9th place. He's got a 5-second gap in front of him though to the next driver, so he'll need to start pulling away and putting in some fast lap times if he wants to get further up the order. It's a good move though, and Try and Catch looks like he might be struggling slightly. He's got a couple of seconds to Grumpy behind him, so no immediate danger, but don't want to make too many mistakes like that. It's just me, or does the rain look like it's getting heavier? It could just be me, but the rain looks like it's got even heavier. The fastest lap at the moment, Jack Tarf, I believe that's Monster Blue. I don't think anyone's beaten his lap time from earlier. I think I can have a look actually. There we go, fastest lap. Yeah, so Monster Blue does indeed have a fastest lap, narrowly ahead of Frederick by 0.02 of a second. There's a lot of drivers around Monster Blue's lap time, so it could, if conditions do improve, it could be beaten. We just see Mr. Geronimo retire from the session, so he is out of the race. As Monster Blue, just as you ask who's done the fastest lap, Jack, Monster Blue goes and lowers the bar by a few tenths. He's looking very strong, it has to be said. I mean, of course, Frederick has got the next fastest lap, but it's going to be tough for him to improve at the moment because he is in his gaggle of cars. And Cashman looks like he may get a good exit here. On Awesome Dude, and Awesome Dude I think senses it as well, and has already tried to start going defensive. As the Alfa Romeo closes in, is he going to think about a move up the inside? Not quite, he's not quite close enough. Under braking, so he will have to remain behind for now. Some support as well for Simo in the chat stream. He's already comfortably pulled clear of Try and Catch, and he will try and set about closing the gap to Bartman in front. Apologies to any Monster Blue or Blue Mosquito fans out there. I know that they're top two, but just haven't really been involved in anything in this race, so we haven't seen much of them. Potentially we might see something of Blue Mosquito shortly though, because it looks like Damleos may be pegging the gap down slightly to the second place man. Oh, and Frederick's going to run out of road there if he's not careful. Yeah, he had to go very much out of throttle there. It looks like he's getting a little bit impatient behind his cars, and it's easy, and of course if you start to push it too much in these conditions, it can bite you. It can be frustrating when you know you're quicker than a car in front and you just can't get past them. It's very much comparable to a street circuit situation, really. I think there's not really many overtaking opportunities, but you know you can go quicker than the cars in front. It's just, you've got to avoid that temptation of just sending one up the inside, because it can happen. You run out of patience and go for a move that isn't really there, and that could just destroy your entire race. As Mr. Grumpy and Try and Catch are battling over 10th place. I wonder if Try and Catch might have a bit of damage, because He ran wide before and it looks like he's struggling for pace at the moment. Grumpy's looking like he really wants to get past his Red Bull. He's looking around the outside. Which will then become the inside line. Oh, and they've made contact and they've gone off the road and it all got a bit too close. Oh, and I think that was Dougie Afferman who had to take avoiding action there. And oh dear, and Okeke's now gone off the road as well. And yeah, it all got a bit too close and personal there between Grumpy and Try and Catch. And unfortunately for them, it's all gone wrong. And I think particularly for Try and Catch, I don't know if I don't think they picked up damage, but they've lost a lot of time, in particular the Red Bull. It's not all lost for Grumpy though. He's still in 11th and he can close back up to Matty. So I think Grumpy had got the move done in all honesty. I think Try and Catch probably would have been better off just conceding that one, to be honest. Grumpy would have had the inside line for the next corner anyway, and it isn't really a side-by-side corner, that one. Good news for Jack Tyler is that Jamie, I believe, just nicked the fastest lap, so, but I get the feeling that might change a few more times for the end of the race. Ah, the Red Bull has damage, right. I wonder if he picked up that damage beforehand, because I mentioned he'd been running wide a lot. So it looks like Try and Catch is just trying to keep it going with damage, but yeah, it looks like, yeah, I think I see what you mean. Yeah, it looks like he's got damage. So that ultimately, I think, is probably the end of Try and Catch's chance of getting points in this one. Let's cut his battle back for 4th place. Jamie looks like, once again, he's closed right up to the back of his group of cars. Of course, he did just do the fastest lap, so he's got good pace in that Red Bull. And it looks like Frederick has got a cracking run, and awesome dude. Have they swapped? I think they've swapped positions. I don't think Frederick was ahead of Cajman before. So somewhere at some point Frederick has got past the Alfa Romeo, and now he's setting about awesome dude as well. Frederick has clearly got good pace, and now he's got past one of them. He really wants to clear this Renault as well, and he's looking at the inside, but he thinks better of it. Of course, problem is for Frederick, even if he can clear this Renault quickly, it's now a 9-second gap to the cars in front. So I think past awesome dude, there isn't really much more he can gain out of this. But he is up to 5th place, past the Alfa Romeo. And Jamie now looking to get past Cajman as well. So Cajman might be about to lose another position here. I was wondering if he'd feel the need to go defensive into turn 1, but Jamie wasn't as close as I thought he was. Now once again onto the straight. Is there anyone who's going to be close to him? I don't think there is on this occasion. Jamie's probably the closest, but no, Cajman might have a look back at Frederick, but he isn't really close enough. This is undoubtedly the closest scrap on track. There is a potentially close battle for 14th place, but I don't think either of us are going to be challenging for the points today. Both of them, I believe, are on quite old, wet tyres at this point. We'll go to it though, see what's happening. We've got to Try and Catch defending against Axnis in the Mercedes. And he has successfully defended up to now. But he will head down towards turn 8. Will the Mercedes think about a move down the inside? Yes, he will. Got Try and Catch defending, and he defended it once again excellently. Wasn't put off by the Mercedes trying to get up the inside. Just held his line and kept the position. Good defending indeed. I Frederick has picked up a penalty that could cost him dear come the end of the race, but he's really pushing to try and get past the Renault. Awesome Dude just seems to have a way round those corners leading onto the straight, but just means he gets a great run, and there isn't really a chance for the driver behind to get close enough to him. It's a really good line he has around there. Jamie, meanwhile, is looking to get past Kajman. He's looking particularly racy here. Is he going to look for a move? No. Moving into the latter stages here of round 7 of a Formula 5 league here on PSGL. This, of course, is the Hockenheim Race. It's been torrential rain throughout the entirety of the race, and Monster Blue has led from pole position and has looked pretty unstoppable. Blue Mosquito has stayed in second, and I believe Damlios has stayed in third, so the top 3 positions are as you were. It's kind of really been behind the top 3 where all the action's taken place. And this could be the opportunity that Frederick needs, but again, can he find that line that Awesome Dude's found? That looks like Awesome Dude's had a poor exit there, and he knows it. You can see he's trying to stay out the slipstream. He knew he didn't get a good exit, and this is Frederick's best opportunity so far. He goes to the outside. It's really the only place he could have gone, but he's going to cut back. That's a brilliant overtake, but Awesome Dude's coming back at him. They're going to go side by side running through turn 7. Yeah, over Renault right on the curb. Is he going to get it slowed down in time? Frederick on the outside, which will then become the inside for this corner. And Frederick looks like he's got the move done, but I think there was a bit of contact there. I think Awesome Dude hit the back of the Ferrari. But Frederick has got the position, and Frederick moves up into 4th place. That was a hard-fought overtake, and it was good racing between a pair of them again. A lot of faith the drivers are putting in each other to run side by side through multiple corners tonight. But it's been some good stuff, and I think Awesome Dude may well have picked up some damage off the back of that Ferrari, because he now has Kajman and Jamie right behind him. Awesome Dude suddenly looking vulnerable around that corner. He was usually getting a good exit, but he just seems to have lost his way in the last few laps. Ironically, ever since I started praising the line he was taking. As Kajman looks down the inside, Awesome Dude couldn't cover it off, and Kajman has taken 5th place. And Awesome Dude is starting to slip here. He's now got Jamie to contend with. I've got to imagine Awesome Dude has at least minor damage. He looks like he's struggling for pace. Oh, and well, wow, Jamie. I think Jamie was caught out with how early Awesome Dude broke. I don't think he was trying to get a move done there. Yeah, you can see he's really struggling, Awesome Dude, now. The good thing for him is that once Jamie, well, you assume Jamie will get past. Once he does, there's an 11-second gap to the next car, so at worst here, Awesome Dude should finish 7th. Meanwhile, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but to Jack Tyler anyway, Monster Blue has just taken back the fastest lap on a 26 flat. Bartman, yeah, Bartman's losing a lot of time. He's been on those, let's have a look, he's been on, well, 29 laps on those wet tyres now. They will be going off the cliff, and Simo will be gaining on him at a vast rate of knots. So Barman here could find himself struggling to finish in the points. If those wet tyres really go off the cliff, he will really start struggling. Back at the front, Monster Blue leads by 6.6 seconds. He's had this race under control throughout. He's not pulled massively away, but he's always had the gap under control. You get the feeling that he's driving within himself a lot of the time. Blue Mosquito has held second place quite brilliantly, actually, because Damlios has always been there or thereabouts, but Blue Mosquito just hasn't allowed him to get close enough to really threaten him. So fair play to him there. JME running wide there, not next to the last corner, desperately trying to get at P6. As he runs very wide at the exit of turn 1, drivers still struggling. Plenty of experience now in these conditions, but it doesn't make it any easier. Got a potential battle here developing for the final points paying position. Grumpy's been on those wet tyres longer than Matty, but he's still managing to close the gap. Could Grumpy salvage a point here? This would be a fine comeback after having to make an early pit stop following contact. And he also had a lucky escape not too long ago with try and catch as well, so if he could salvage anything out of this race, I think he'd be satisfied with that. But Matty will put up a good fight for that final point. Absolutely, Bartman's done a fantastic job. He'll have to do 32 laps on one set of wet tyres if he wants to get points, and it didn't really look like Mercedes were going to get any points after the way the race started for them, so a massive credit to Bartman if he can hold on to that 8th place, and he's looking pretty solid to do it at the moment. Simo's not really gaining massively on him. We've got a yellow flag in sectors 2 and 3. What's happening? Oh, it's Try and Catch who has gone off. He's lost his front wing. I don't know. He was near to Axnis if I recall. So I don't know if there was contact between them or if he went off on his own accord. But yeah, Try and Catch's race just has kind of deteriorated really. As Grumpy looks like he really wants to get that final point off for Williams. One Williams driver looking good to cruise to the win, the other Williams driver looking to hang on to a point, but Grumpy's right in the slipstream here. He will. Oh, Matty almost squeezed him there for a second, wasn't sure which way they were going to go. Grumpy goes to the outside. He's going to try and stick it out around the outside. Matty will not give him any room. He's determined to hold on to that final point. You know, Grumpy's such a good racer. He will want to get that final point and he will look for any opportunity to take it. On the race leader's on to the final lap, but these cars will still have just over a lap to go. So still time for Grumpy to get that final point, and of course depending on penalties he might get it without needing to overtake. But it just looks like he's lost a bit of ground there through the stadium section. He needs to put himself in position to have a run him down the straight again. But we will cut now to the race leader, give him a bit of airtime. We've not seen much of Monster Blue tonight, but he has driven an absolutely fantastic race. And he's just driven 3 wins in a row now for Monster Blue, and he's the 4th man in this league, and this will close the gap down to what I believe, I think it's closed around 7 or 8 points, I think, to Jack Tyler. And that's definitely got to be a concern for Jack, because right now Monster Blue looks pretty strong. As he rounds the final couple of corners, he's absolutely cruised this one. Monster Blue never looked under pressure, got pole position in the dry, and has cruised it home in the wet. Monster Blue takes the full amount of points here. He got fastest lap as well, unless anyone takes it from him. Oh, someone has taken it from him. Blue Mosquito on the very last lap of the race with a 25.9. Great lap from Blue Mosquito as he takes a brilliant 2nd place. And now Frederick gets the fastest lap. So Frederick now has the fastest lap as he takes 4th. Kazman 5th. Awesome Dude in 6th. We've got Jamie in 7th. As Simo is really close to Bartman, who must be struggling on those tyres now. And who will get 8th? It will be Bartman across the line who gets 8th ahead of Simo. So fair play to him. 33 laps on those wet tyres. And he did a brilliant job to get P8. Matty does hold off Grumpy for the final points paying position. And yeah, that is fair play to the drivers in those conditions. It was tough, but a lot of them made it look very, very easy. And yeah, Monster Blue takes the win. Blue Mosquito second, Don Mills third. All the podium finishers deserve a lot of credit. They didn't really seem to have any problems at all. And they all held on to their positions very strongly. Can confirm Frederick did get the fastest lap in the end, so that's 1 point taken off Monster Blue for you there, Jack. But yeah, it's looking very much like, I'd say, Jack Tyler, Monster Blue and even Frederick are probably the main championship contenders going into the rest of the season now. You see the podium finishes there. In terms of a driver of the day, that's a tricky one actually. There's a lot of drivers out there who really impressed me. I'm actually going to give it to Blue Mosquito. I was going to give it to Monster Blue, but I'm going to give it to Blue Mosquito just simply because I was more impressed with the fact that he always had the Ferrari around 1.5, 2 seconds behind him, and he didn't seem to make a mistake. He just always kept it under control, and it's very difficult to do that when you've got somebody constantly putting pressure on you. It just didn't seem to affect Blue Mosquito, so I'm going to give him driver of the day on this one. A great performance from him. But a lot of good performances up and down the field. And yeah, that'll be it for the race tonight. I hope you all enjoyed the stream. And hopefully Mr. Stim will be back in the commentary box next week with myself to bring you coverage of the next F5 race. Credit to us again, to the podium finishers. They all drove a fantastic race. And we'll be back next week along with Jack Tyler for the next one. And until then, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from the PSGL channel. Good night, everybody.